It's funny. I came out to Colorado as a geologist and had 5 great years in the oil and gas business. And I was an exploration geologist going into the most beautiful landscapes in the world. And then, commodities prices tanked in the mid-'80s. I got laid off. Our company got sold. Everyone got laid off. Something like 10,000 geologists lost their jobs in that 6-year period. So I was out of work for over 2 years, ended up opening a brew pub. And like lots of small business people, I immersed myself. I wasn't involved in anything but making my business succeed. And after 15 years, or after 12 years, but by 15 years, after 12 years it took off. And after 15 years, I didn't have to work anymore. And I was so frustrated. I was 49 years old. I never ran for student council when I was in school. I didn't hang out with the people that did. I had never been involved in politics, literally, in any way. And all these people came up and said, Mayor Webb is term limited out, you should run for mayor. And I was so frustrated by what I called the fundamental nonsense of government. I said, well, let's replace the fundamental nonsense with some old-fashioned common sense. And I ran for mayor, and I promised never to do a negative ad. I still never have. I said I was going to make sure that government, that if I was elected, I would serve people like I'd learned to do in the restaurant business. And I also said that we'd lift up the whole region. Metro Denver, the city and county of Denver is only 20% of the metro region. And everyone said, you'll never win. You're promising to share the treasures of Denver with the suburbs, which Denver hates. Denver didn't hate the suburbs. The politicians hated each other. I won with 65% of the vote. I immediately went out and worked with all the Republican mayors in the suburbs, and we unanimously supported fast tracks, 122 miles of new track, the largest transit initiative in modern American history, probably one of the largest infrastructure investments directly targeted at climate change. We did all this with 21 Republican mayors and 13 Democratic mayors unanimously supporting a tax increase. So I felt that I wanted to get into government because by bringing people together, I could make a difference. And I got into it. Before I finally made the decision, I flew around the country. If you own a big popular restaurant, people owe you favors. You get them a seat on a Friday night. But I got introduced to 6 of the big city mayors around the country. And I went and I asked them all 3 different questions, like Tom Menino in Boston, or Steve Goldschmidt in Indianapolis, or Martin O'Malley in Baltimore. I'd say, can you make a difference? Is it possible? And would I be any good at it with my background? And would I like it? And I just got excited, and I ran, and I made the commitment to the suburbs and a positive campaign. And I loved it, and I still love it. When I was a geologist, I loved being in the mountains. I loved being a geologist. First day I walked into the restaurant that I'd opened, the Wine Coop, and I knew I'd be 20 times better at running that restaurant than I ever was as a geologist. And then 15 years after that, by this weird, impossible translation of life, I ended up walking into the mayor's office as the new mayor of Denver, and I knew that first day that I was going to be 10 times better at being mayor than I ever was at running a restaurant. And I guess sometimes God figures out, the little beam of light comes down, and they push you in directions you would have never dreamed. And sometimes it allows you to be, to achieve something that you never even imagined.